Sick of the Pundits, episode 16, I think. We got Louis and we got Alex. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
We are live.
That's it. That's how I usually start. Yeah. It's all right. Surprised you guys. Surprising the audience, all of 3 people. Yeah. So, and that's me, Alex, and Louis, because we all always watch it, don't we, guys? Anyway, Louis, what are we talking about today?
Today, Josh, we will be discussing the big game coming up between Chelsea and Liverpool. We will discuss where the game will be won and lost, how the squads are looking, who's done the good transfer business, how the managers shape up, and the key battles on the field. We'll also be discussing our all-time Liverpool Chelsea combined 11s within the Premier League era. To anyone new to our channel, please follow us on our usual social media pages. We are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, the Facebook page is coming along. We do promise that one. Shout out to Justin Murray, who left a comment on our last video. Yes, we do agree. Maradona was the most foul player in the '82 World Cup. And yes, there are more teams other than the top 4 and 5. We will try and cover them. Come on, you Irons. Come on, you Irons, he said.
No, they're top of the table at the moment. So put some respect on that West Ham name.
So, guys, the big game on the weekend, we have Chelsea against Liverpool. 2 potential title challenges. On the face of it, probably looking, I don't know, are they looking sort of neck and neck? How do the squads sort of play out, would you say? Alex, what are your thoughts for how the teams look? Who's done the best business over the summer?
Well, obviously, Lukaku's a big signing for Chelsea. He's looked to have sort of pushed them, or in a lot of the pundit sides, into being sort of 1 and 2 favourites for the league now. With him up there, you think he's going to start majority of the games as well. And the way he looked against Arsenal, obviously it was his first game and Arsenal were a bit spineless and whatnot, but he does look good. He does look to kind of round off their attack and be the vocal point and bring everyone else into play. So it is pretty good business on their end this season. Obviously, if they do sign a centre-back too and another midfielder, there is still time. Chelsea have done pretty good business. And not to say Liverpool haven't done good business. I know we've only had the one signing, but we have tied down a lot of our key players to long-term deals, and it is an extra bit on the wage bill, but obviously having that core squad of players and the quality that does mean for the next sort of whatever 4 or 5 years, it does. I like the fact that it makes the sort of underdogs. People are writing us off nice and early, and I like the fact that we're not on everyone's lips to win the league, so we can just go about our business quietly.
Fair enough. Josh, you're never short of opinion on Chelsea FC. What's your gut feeling on this one? What's your gut feeling?
Tuchel sacked by Christmas.
Nah, I went to Tuchel sacked by Christmas. Yeah, Roman's pulled his wallet out again, so I think Tuchel will be there. But if he doesn't win a Premier League, I think he'll be gone.
What, end of the season?
Oh, it's just Chelsea standard, though, isn't it? If Roman's dropped this kind of money, I think he expects a Premier League. And I was listening to another Chelsea channel. Shout out to, I think, Rory, I think his name is. Very sound Chelsea fan, which is there isn't a lot of you guys, to be fair. So shout out to Rory. He said, what did he say? He said, usually Chelsea win a league every 4 years, and this is the 4th year coming up. So I think he said that. Yeah. So let's wait and see, isn't it? Let's wait and see. But I think, yeah, Chelsea's definitely done some good business. I mean, for me, on this channel, I'm the biggest Roman Lukaku fan. I think he's right up there. I think when you mention top strikers on the planet, if you give me a top 5, Romelu Lukaku's in that top 5 for sure. But does he make that much of a difference to Chelsea in terms of, if we're looking at with Man City and Liverpool in this sort of period that they're in? And I'm just going to focus on this period because at the end of the day, I think Chelsea last year, they spent 200 million and they still finished beneath Liverpool, who had an injury. We didn't have any centre-backs for most of the season. Does Romelu Lukaku have the same impact of winning points as Virgil van Dijk has as winning points? And I think that's the question. That's what it's going to come down to if we're looking at their best players versus our best players. So it's going to be interesting seeing how that moves forward. but I think it's a big game this weekend, and in the big games, the big players stand out. So I'm not doubting Romelu Lukaku at all, but I just feel when it comes to Chelsea football team, there's so many players in that team, for me, wouldn't get into our first 11, even though they have a really strong squad. But for me, I looked at it really hard, and if we're looking at their team currently, it would be Romelu Lukaku and Kante, and that's it. Nobody else in their team will get into our squad. Not one other player.
Oh, big statement from Josh there on the European champions current squad. Alex, key battles, obviously, as Josh has alluded to, Romelu Lukaku being a massive signing, as you've mentioned as well, up against Virgil van Dijk. How do you see that one shaping up?
I think Virgil normally comes out on top against most strikers, and I don't see how. Obviously, don't get me wrong, Lukaku's great at what he does, but Virgil van Dijk's IQ is probably the best in the league when it comes to centre backs, as well as his ability, as well as his strength, and his stature and all of that stuff. His footballing IQ of when to go close, when to drop off, when to back off when on one-on-one, when not to. His IQ is up there, and it's just that much better than Lukaku's, especially with the fact that he's going to have a centre back next to him who will sweep everything else up too in Matic, and who can carry the ball as well. And them doubling up on Lukaku, I don't think he'll have as much success as he did, obviously, against Arsenal. So that will obviously be a key battle. But one of the key battles will be on the flanks, with our fullbacks, Robbo and Trent up against James and Alonso, or James and Chilwell, whoever it will be. That will be where a lot of the game will be played. Obviously, the battle will be in midfield, but I reckon a lot of the supply will come from out wide, and obviously that's where the key battle will lie for me personally on the weekend.
Fair enough. As you said, there's always the battle in midfield. Liverpool, you'd suspect, would line up probably Henderson, Fabinho, and one other versus Chelsea, who are most likely going to start Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic potentially. Josh, give us your opinion on the Chelsea midfield versus the Liverpool midfield.
Like I said, the only one of their midfielders that will get into our team. I know what's his name? The Jorginho. Is that his name?
Jorginho, yes.
I know he was part of the Italian European Cup winning squad, and I get that. And he's a Champions League winner. Certain people said he should be up for Ballon d'Or. No. I still think he doesn't get into our midfield. Is he better than Thiago at what he does? I wouldn't say so. I think obviously, I think our strongest midfield when it's up and running is Thiago, Henderson, and Fabinho. I think Kante is the difference maker, because I think Kante is probably one of the most underrated midfielders the Premier League's ever seen. I really do. I think he not only does he tackle hard, but the energy.
Underrated. Everyone loves Kante.
Yeah, but you wouldn't mention him with one of them. You wouldn't be like, oh, Yaya Toure, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard. He needs to be in that conversation, and I don't think he is. He needs to be in that conversation.
He doesn't score enough goals to do that.
No, but as a midfielder, he does everything. He doesn't
score enough goals though, does he? He's never hit double digits.
Okay, he doesn't score enough goals, but in terms of being that battering ram, in terms of being box to box, he's incredible at what he does, and I feel he's underrated. I think he's been used as he's just a DM, but no, he's a lot more than that. And you can see when he's not on the pitch, Chelsea not the same team. So, especially in that midfield. So, like I said, but I think Alex is spot on in terms of the battle of the fullbacks. I think that's going to be the most interesting one, because I think in the league, if we're looking at the league as a whole, I think Luke Shaw would probably have a problem with me saying this, but other than him, I think Chelsea and Liverpool have the best fullbacks in the league. Cancelo maybe as well might have a word about that, but I generally think as a partnership, if we're looking at two on either flank, I think Chelsea and Liverpool have the best. So and they utilize both of them as well. Like most of the creativity will come from their fullbacks in both teams. So that's why it's going to be an interesting game. I think Tuchel did prove himself against Klopp last season, but again, I'd say it was an injury hit squad. We didn't really play our system. I think we're looking at 1 and 2 in the Premier League this year. I really do. I mean, I like Man City, and I wouldn't want to count out Man City at all. But I think Chelsea's done the business, and as long as along with their key players, Romelu Lukaku and Kante, stay fit, I think Chelsea will be right up there at the end of the season.
Don't need a centre back.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Just to show we aren't biased, and just for our commenter Justin Murray, we do appreciate Kufal and Aaron Cresswell at West Ham. Chelsea's defense with Thiago Silva. I mean, much has been made. Tuchel has gone in. He's shored up the defense. They're looking a lot more solid. Thiago Silva had a very successful season. They're up against Liverpool's attacking trio, whoever it may be, Salah, Mane, and one of Jota or Firmino up front. Who wins that battle, Alex? What are your thoughts on that one?
I think the Chelsea defenders are going to have a lot of trouble against those three. They interchange a lot. I think Jota's obviously got off to a great start, obviously 2 goals in 2 games. And he's pushing Bobby a lot for that starting spot right now. And if they are playing 3 at the back with 2 wing backs, I don't think our players will have trouble finding the space, especially in behind. So I think they will have a lot of trouble. On our end, I guess it'll be Matip and VVD against Lukaku, and then there'll be Mount and either Havertz or Mount, Ziyech sort of playing in the 10s. I want to say I'm kind of not worried as much, because I know we're going to, as long as Fabinho's back, I guess I won't worry. But if he's not, then it could be a little bit tricky. I think Fabinho's the best in his position in the Prem, and if he is playing, I think that should neutralise them too. So not to be biased or anything, I am quietly confident about the weekend, and everyone's tooting their horn sort of at Chelsea. I do think we'll win if Fabinho starts.
Fair enough. Alex predicting the Liverpool win there. Josh, any views on the Liverpool attack versus this organised Chelsea defence?
I don't think you can win a Premier League title with Christensen and old man Thiago Silva at the back. So that's why I'm thinking Chelsea might struggle.
And Rudiger.
Rudiger, I think, will have a really good game against Salah. I think when you look at Salah and when he struggles, I think he struggles against the stronger, quick fullbacks. I think that's a problem that he has. He might be able to, because the way Salah plays as well, even though he is a winger, winger short, so wing forward, you'd say, but he uses a lot of his upper body strength to hold the ball. So that's why I think when he's coming up against like a stronger Rudiger, it might be a little bit difficult for him. But then I think Jota's movement is going to cause Christensen some problems. It's probably going to cause, and Christensen might not start. It might be Thiago Silva and Azpilicueta. Because like if you're going to play your strongest team, your Chelsea, you got to put your veterans at the back. But I think Jota's movement will be a problem, and I think Mane's back as well. So if Reece James goes wandering like he did, and Azpilicueta is 1-on-1 with Mane, because I think in the Arsenal game we saw time and time again, Saka was 1-on-1 with Azpilicueta, but Saka just didn't have the confidence or didn't have the skills that Mane will have to drop a shoulder and just leave Azpilicueta on his butt. So we'll see. I think that battle is going to be key, and whether a midfielder is going to be able to track back with Reece James going up and down, I think that's going to be key. I know Jordan Henderson will be able to do it with Alonso, but will Naby Keita be able to do it with Reece James? It's going to be a tall ask for Naby Keita, and I just don't trust Thiago to be doing it as well. So that's when we miss Gini Wijnaldum, I feel, because he's strong and he will track back. And he would have given Reece James a harder time, I feel, than a Naby Keita would, because even though Naby Keita, when he plays, I think he's got the highest interceptions for any midfielder that we have when he plays, but he does most of his work not near the goal line. And I'm worried about how do we close down Reece James, because we can't leave, especially if Robertson does come back, or even if it's Shimikas as well. I don't want to leave him at all with a 2-on-1 situation, because if Havertz is down there or something like that, Chelsea could cause a problems. It's just going to be whose tactics are going to come out on top in the game, and that's going to be the interesting thing.
Fair enough. I'm going to end this segment with my prediction. I think it will be 1-1. More of a chess match, like early on, a bit of sparring, neither wanting to lose rather than going out for the win. So I'm going for 1-1. Alex, what prediction you got for us?
I mean, yeah, that's probably the right thing to pick, but I don't want to do that.
No, use your heart, Alex.
I'm going for I'm gonna captain Mo Salah in fantasy. So we're going for a Mo Salah hat trick, 3-1.
Josh, give us a prediction.
I think Thiago Silva is going to get sent off in the first 15 minutes. and Liverpool will comfortably win 4-0.
4-0,
like it.
3-1, and a boring 1-1. That's your preview for Liverpool versus Chelsea this Saturday at 5:30. Tune in, and we hope for a Liverpool win. Guys, let's move on to the second segment of our podcast today. One that you've come up with, Josh, an all-time Liverpool and Chelsea combined 11. We'll go through some key positions. We'll try and go through them all. We'll see how far we get.
Wait. Can I say something quick? What formation are we agreeing on here? Because that's
4-3-3.
4-3-3.
Okay.
Goalkeepers: Alisson, De Gea, Kepa, Mendy. Sorry, Peter Cech. Even sorry. Who else has there been?
Well, it has to be Peter Cech, innit?
Pepe Reina's in there, yeah. I see. Now this is a difficult one because my heart would say Alisson, but then I would say Peter Cech is the best goalkeeper the Premier League's ever seen, just on stats, clean sheets, and all that stuff. But then I would say Alisson's definitely better distribution. But I would say we've not seen enough of Alisson to come up against Peter Cech. So I would lean towards, if I'm looking at it on a non-biased level, I'd say Cech. If I was biased, I'd say Alisson. But I think it's a lot closer than people think.
Yeah, Alisson's got a mistake in him too, which is
when
Cech was at Chelsea, he never really felt like he was going to do anything wrong. Like everything was so safe. Yeah. Whereas Alisson likes to flick things over people's heads and do a Cruyff turn here and there. I mean, he's Brazilian after all. So
can Peter Cech score goals though?
Oh, he can't score goals.
That's a good point. You know what? No, but for Alex's point of like that stillness, you want your goalkeeper not to make mistakes. And Alisson does have a little mistake in him. Not a lot. It doesn't happen a lot, but there are times that you're like, oh, why did you do that? And whereas Cech, never a moment of that. With Cech, even if you're one-on-one with Cech, you think, actually, no, to be fair, if you're one-on-one with Alisson, you still think Alisson might come on top. But with Cech, there was just certain stillness about him, that Eastern European block stillness about him. So, yeah.
I think Alisson's ability is like here, and Cech's is like here. But because Alisson's so confident in his ability, he's more prone to making mistakes. Because he'll do the flamboyant thing when really he shouldn't. Like sometimes when Alisson gets the ball, my heart, like, it gets a bit quicker when it shouldn't. You won't get that with Peter Cech.
Let's all right then. So we're putting Peter Cech in goal. Couple of centre backs we need. Who are we going to go for, guys? Obviously, instantly my head goes for Virgil van Dijk and John Terry.
See, now I said Virgil van Dijk and Carvalho.
Oh,
I think
Carvalho ahead of JT.
Hold on. I think Carvalho was so underrated. I think he is so underrated. I think if I'm looking at it on a level, I think John Terry's ability is fantastic. I mean, left and right foot, leadership as well, fantastic. But if I'm getting my leadership from Virgil van Dijk, the talking from Virgil van Dijk, I'm gonna be like the stillness of Carvalho. He cleaned up everything.
It depends what you're picking it for now too, because is it the actual best players in the position, or are we talking about it as an 11 now? Because obviously you've got two captains now in VVD and JT, and they both kind of play left-sided centre back anyway, so it's the same position. So arguably, if you're looking at a pair, then you have to. Is it either VVD or JT, and then Carvalho?
I'd say you don't have to do that. I'm saying the best. And then JT.
If it's the best, it has to be JT and VVD. If it is just the best.
Oh, I don't know. I like I said, I think Carvalho is underrated.
This isn't the unrated 11, Josh. Underrated 11. That I say today.
But I would say throughout that period of Chelsea's stillness, I would say Carvalho did more than JT. I really would.
How can you even measure that? It doesn't even make sense.
With my eyes.
He did more. What does that mean?
With my eyes.
Done more.
Like just like, for example, do you know how other players, like other centre backs, don't get rated because they're by Virgil van Dijk? I think that's totally unfair. I think it's totally unfair. But I feel Carvalho comes into that boat. He's totally underrated because JT is the captain in English. 100%.
Be that as it may, JT was still better than him.
No, he wasn't. Because if JT was by himself, if he's by himself on a one-on-one, He's getting beat. He's getting left on his ass. 100%. All right, watch it back. And Chelsea fans, real Chelsea fans, you'd agree with me. I know you would. The real ones would agree with me.
All right, stick Carvalho in there ahead of JC then.
We're sticking Carvalho alongside Virgil van Dijk.
There you go.
Doesn't even make any sense.
At right back, current options.
Trent.
We have
Paulo Ferreira, Trent Alexander, Cesar Azpilicueta,
Ivanovic.
Branislav Ivanovic. Glenn Johnson.
Yeah, for both.
Who we sticking on the right, guys?
This is the problem I have with these combined 11s, right? Because
no one cares about your problems. No one cares.
It doesn't make any sense. None of this stuff makes any sense anyway.
No one cares.
It doesn't make any sense. No one make any sense.
Josh,
Anyway,
I'm going to give you the final pick on right back. What are you going for?
Trent is a generational talent. The only person that we can compare to Trent is Dani Alves.
Trent,
100%.
we're talking best all-time Premier League, and you're picking Trent.
Yes, he's got more assists. He's got more assists than Trent.
Wow, we're talking about a right back here.
Okay.
And we're talking about the best Premier League all time.
Okay.
How many seasons has Trent even had in the Prem?
4, 5?
4, 5 seasons. What the fuck are you talking about? Hasn't been 4, 5 seasons.
Trent is a generational talent. Is there another generational
I'm not denying
talent?
that. But we're talking all-time Prem. He hasn't done anything.
Talent?
He hasn't done enough.
He's won a Premier League title and he's won a Champions League final.
So is Alisson, but why do we stick checking ahead of him then?
Because hasn't Czech won a Champions League?
What?
Anyway, we're talking
because
about
of longevity.
We're talking about Premier League.
We're talking all time here.
We're talking about Premier League. Anyway, we're talking about Premier League. There's not a Chelsea right back in their Premier League era that comes close to Trent. Not even close.
There is.
Who?
If we're talking about the best all time in the Prem, not ability, because obviously Trent is a generational talent. But if we're talking best all time, it has to be like Aspie.
That's
or one of the Chelsea boys.
That's crazy. That's
How
crazy.
is it crazy?
It's crazy because
Jose Mourinho once said that if he had a team full of Azpilicuetas, he'd win everything because Aspie is that good. It's not just on the ball. We're talking here. We're talking about this up here, and Azpilicueta has it all, mate. He's got leadership. He can play multiple positions, and he was one of the best right backs in the Prem, and he's still playing now.
Okay, but in his Premier League era, he had a dip. There was a point where Chelsea were awful, and he was in that team at the time.
When?
Hold on. When they won the league with Conte, all right, fair enough. Then, where did he go? He fell off the map. He absolutely.
What do you mean he fell off the map?
He fell off the
map.
map.
Still playing. What are you talking about?
We won the league with Conte.
All right, pick a right back in it.
Hold on.
It's Aspie. For me, it's Aspie.
Louis, can Azpilicueta do what Trent does? Can he do it? Is he capable?
No, who's arguing that though?
Right, cool.
Who's arguing that? Stupid.
But can Trent eventually be as solid as a defender as Azpilicueta?
But we're talking now. We're talking right now.
We're talking about right now. We're talking about right now.
No, he's not. He's not a better defender than him.
I would arguably say Trent is the best right back the Premier League has ever seen.
Yeah, and you could say that. You could say that if you wanted. You wouldn't be right.
All right, guys, we've got to move this along. We can't talk about Trent versus Aspie. Because Josh had the vote last time with Carvalho, I'm gonna have to put
in. That's all right. No, I'd rather have John Terry then. Take John Terry, put John Terry in. Trent has to start this team.
Guys,
we're moving on. Aspie's right back. Aspie's right back.
Left back. I think they're only
Ashley Cole.
This is Ashley Cole, but there's no argument.
Huh? Okay.
This is ridiculous. I can't believe you thought Azpilicueta. You're a fake Liverpool fan. This guy, insane. Chelsea fans are like, you know what? Yeah, it would be Trent. Come on. Awful.
How could it be Trent? You know what? I'm not even talking about this.
Right. Guys, midfield. Give us a defensive midfielder.
Kante. It's not even worth debating. Kante.
I don't think we can argue anything else, can we, Alex?
I take Fabinho.
See, so, okay, hold on. Let's throw his logic in the bin. Let's throw his logic in the bin. How can he say Fabinho? Yeah. How can he say Fabinho but not Trent when Trent and Fabinho literally been in this? Actually, Trent was in the Liverpool team before Fabinho. This nonsense guy, nonsense merchant. Put Trent back in the team.
comparing apples and oranges. And we're talking about defensive midfielder and a right back now. You can't use the same logic.
What do you
They're
mean?
two completely different players. They're two completely different players.
Louis, run the tape back.
Circumstances are different.
Hold on, Louis. His logic.
Circumstances are different.
Hold on. His logic was, but you can't really use that. How long has Trent been in the Premier League for? Nonsense. You nonsense.
I can use that. He's been in the league for like 2.5 years.
How long has Fabinho been in the Premier League for?
But we're not talking about them guys. We're talking about Fabinho and Kante now. It's different.
Okay, so Kante's been in the Premier League for a lot longer than Fabinho has. Yeah?
That's the truth. Yeah.
And Kante's been remarkable, universally seen as one of the best at what he does.
Yeah.
So Kante is it's not even...
I mean, in my team, I pick Fabinho, but you can have Kante. I don't mind.
I think we're going Kante then.
We're going Trent as well. Trent is in our team.
we need a midfielder alongside Kante.
Stevie G and Lampard, isn't it?
Stevie G or Frank Lampard.
Stevie G and Frank Lampard. Honorable mentions. You could say Mikel Ballack. You could say Xabi Alonso. Honorable mentions, but for me, undoubtedly, it's literally got to be Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard.
Fair enough. That's our three. Front three then. Should we start on the right hand side?
Mo Salah.
Yeah. Easy one.
Honorable mention, Iron Robin.
Yep.
Yeah. He wasn't around long enough though. If we're just talking Prem, he wasn't around long enough.
Yep. Left wing.
Hazard.
Oh.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
Very good shout.
You know what though, yeah? Just want to put it out there, and I'm a big fan of Hazard, but he's hella overrated in the Prem. So overrated. Never. Yeah, 100%. He how many? What was his highest goal tally in the Prem?
But he's not
even about 10.
He's not goal scorer. He's not goal scorer.
Talking about he's a winger. He gets goals.
Yeah, he's not goal scorer. But you can't compare.
What about assist then?
Assists. You wouldn't say even assists. Let's talk about.
So what does he do then? He just dilly-dallies around.
Let's talk about
judge a winger on goals and assists.
Hold on. Yeah.
What's your logic?
My logic is Hazard's ability allowed him to be one of the best players the Premier League has ever seen. So stop your fooling.
Here we go.
Because we could use the same debate. We could use the same debate about Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp was never a high goal scorer, never a high assist maker.
No. You can't.
Ryan
Apples and oranges.
Ryan Giggs was never a high goal scorer, never did a lot of assists.
Yeah, he's another one. He's another overrated guy.
As
another one. Ryan Giggs, best wingers, my ass.
You're a hater. Anyway, Eden Hazard, definitely.
Eden Hazard, left wing. Real Madrid's finest.
And up front, Bobby Firmino, easy.
Centre forward. I'm not even going to entertain that thought.
Obviously,
Bobby Firmino.
Obviously, for me, Chelsea have had some amazing strikers, and you think Didier Drogba. And if I was just picking as a team level, Didier Drogba holding up the ball for Eden Hazard and Mo Salah, Chelsea could have actually had that, but they sold Salah. Anyway, but for me, it's got to be Luis Suarez.
Yeah, I was going to say Luis Suarez.
But this is where Alex's argument falls on its head again, because Alex said, well, he's been in the Premier League for long enough. He wasn't in the Premier League for long.
How can you go and use the same argument for everything? Because it doesn't apply, Joshua. You can't just say that. That's not how it works.
Yeah, you can. Of course you can.
That's not how it works. No, it's not. Because you're using it to fit your stupid agenda. It doesn't fit.
Yeah, you lot are saying Luis Suarez, but for me, it's got to be Drogba.
Really?
It has to be Didier Drogba for me. Within the Premier League.
I'm not having it.
Yeah, no, I like I said, I mean,
it's close.
Luis Suarez as a striker was insane what he could do. However, Didier Drogba, it literally ruined a lot of my childhood growing up. Not my childhood, my teens, I'd say. I'm a little bit older. Because I just remember one time where he destroyed Hupia. Hupia was never the same after that.
What was that back heel? I remember.
Oh mate, no, and not only that, destroyed a lot of Arsenal hopes. Didier Drogba as a striker was so dominant, and I think he's the highest scoring African striker in the Premier League. Salah's closing in on that, but
he'll be here this season.
You know what? Actually, more and more I think about it.
Wait. Before you go in, I'm going to say this to you, right? Wait. I want to say this to you. Drogba, I don't think he played with bad players at Chelsea. I'm trying to think of who was like really bad.
It's not his fault, Alex. It's not
Luis
his fault.
Suarez at Liverpool brought them to within a couple points of winning the league with the likes of Stuart Downing, Jay Spearing in his team.
Alex,
Luis Suarez done that all by himself.
Let's use this stupid logic.
All by himself. It was amazing. Suarez done it all by himself. It was amazing. Oh, no, wait. If you count Sturridge as well, obviously them two done the madness. But Suarez's stats when he won, obviously, PFA Player of the Year and whatnot, that Liverpool team was horrendous. We had Sissoko at left back and Kolo Toure, and he was like 35 or whatever it was. And we managed to come second in the league. We were this close to winning as well because of Suarez. Drogba could never do that in that Chelsea team. If Drogba went into that Liverpool team, we ain't getting anywhere close, mate, I tell you. That's why Suarez is in there.
Drogba had a terrible, terrible Chelsea team and they won Champions League.
What?
It's a stupid
How do you
argument.
say that? They had Eden Hazard.
Who were they against?
Mata,
Who were they against?
Oscar.
Who were they against?
What are you talking about? Bayern Munich.
Who did they knock out? Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich.
And who else did they knock out?
Barcelona.
All right, cool. And where were they? Are we talking about one of the best Barcelona?
What's the argument here?
I'm talking about if we're using the argument, oh, they had a weaker team and did the magic. Well, no, I disagree with that.
But he did. Is there for you to see.
Anyway, Drogba is one of the most dominant strikers the Premier League has ever seen.
No, he is. He's
if we're going to rate Romelu Lukaku's game is based upon Didier Drogba.
Either way,
yeah, but he's not.
Either way, Drogba or Suarez, I guess. I'm
going Drogba.
It's a really good first 11. Just to throw you guys a little curveball here. Obviously, we've got our one viewer, West Ham fan. Who's your favourite West Ham player of all time?
Oh, West Ham.
I'm going to throw one out.
Carlos Tevez.
Paulo Di Canio, I think.
No, I would say. Do you know what? Hold on. Let's give Mikel Antonio a little bit of a.
He's your favourite.
Hold on. Man. He's their top goal scorer of all time.
Why not, Alex? Why not?
And he started off right back.
You go for the media darling at this current moment. You can't think outside the box. Flipping Mikel Antonio. Jesus.
Yes. He's such a hater.
Mark Noble.
Yeah, I want to hear the obscure, pointless answer, not Mikel Antonio.
He started off as a right back, my favourite position, and then became a striker. That guy's my hero.
I don't even want to hear it, mate.
And on that note, I think we've come to the end of this episode. Guys, thanks very much for tonight. Great preview for the Liverpool Chelsea game. I'm sure you guys won't be missing it on the weekend. To anyone who's got this far, thanks for tuning into this video. Follow us on the usual social media pages. We appreciate all the comments, views, opinions, and any feedback we get from everyone out there. Everyone have a good week, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Trent, you stop. You are in the team. Alex is a hater. Alex is actually a big fan of Gareth Southgate. We don't listen to his opinions. They're both crazy.
No, I'm not.
Both crazy.
No, I'm not.